Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. You're calling in all the way from Portugal. So
I am.
And I'm in Vancouver. So everybody, this is Kate MacGowan, and she works with MTHS. And today we are here to talk a little bit about who is this course for? So the Trauma-Informed Coaching Certification. So who is this course really for? And the second question is, how far along on your healing journey should you be before you actually start this program? So my name is Susan Hogarth, and I am one of the co-founders here at Moving the Human Spirit, along with Brad Hardy. And yeah, so we're going to answer those two questions here for you, hopefully. Kate, so who do you feel this course is for?
I feel like this course, instinctively coming from my perspective, I came onto the course because I had experienced trauma myself, and I think a lot of people want to come on this course as a result of that. And also I'd had some background in working with military and special forces, so I had a mix of knowing about PTSD in another world, and also then I also had my own experience with trauma as well. So I instinctively wanted to take this course because I understood the content. I understood when I talked to you about the detail, it made a lot of sense to me because I had experienced some of the content, and also, working with some of those frontline workers, I also understood that as well. So I think it's for those of us which have experienced it, or worked with people that have experienced, I'd say it's absolutely perfect because hopefully half of it you'll know already. And secondly, I think for people that are coaching or are therapists that need to understand how to work with people that have experienced trauma, this is invaluable. Because without that, you won't know how best to manage your client, know what the triggers are, and how to refer them back if needs be, because it's very specific. So I hope that answers your first question. For those two sections, I would say it's absolutely invaluable.
Yeah, yes. So when Brad and I designed the course with the, who is this for in mind, originally we started that it was only going to be for coaches that were already certified. And we went down that path. And then we found that when COVID hit, a good majority of our clientele shifted dramatically. And it was the general public that started coming to us, wanting to become trauma-informed coaches. So we went back and we revised and we created the trauma-informed coaching basics for those that are not already certified and do want to hold a certification specifically in the area of being trauma-informed. So that was kind of the general rule for us. We definitely find that most people that I have conversations with have gone through traumatic events themselves, whether that be, abusive relationships, child abuse, oh my gosh, narcissistic relationships. I mean, the spectrum is just so broad, right? Death in a family, death by suicide. So many different aspects of it. But regardless, I would say that probably 80 to 90% of our clientele have gone through or experienced some type of trauma. And now they have done their work and they've come out the other side and they realize that they want to help and support others and become a trauma-informed coach themselves and work through something that maybe has been similar to their own journey.
Yeah, I think it's a natural fit. It's the reason why and do you remember me asking you all those questions when I first joined or just decided to join, endless questions. But I think what's so nice about this is what's so unusual is that it's accredited by the ICF, but also it's something where actually when you're speaking to you for the first interview, and actually you spoke to Brad as well, you understand that it's and this is kind of moving into the second question slightly, is that you understand that it's a safe space to be working, where if you're coming in from a perspective of a coach, those things will be kind of new to you. What was really nice for me though was, and a lot of the people that did the full range of the courses, the basics course was amazing because it was kind of revelatory to understand that you could be, this was the role of a coach.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of us that don't yet know that, that was like a really like aha moment of saying, actually, oh my goodness, you can actually, you don't have to take responsibility for this person. They're fully capable, they can do it themselves. It was like, oh, that's so lovely. And then for the coaches themselves, learning the content of the trauma work, I think is very, very necessary, because I think a lot of times people can become re-traumatized.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think in what Kate's referring to, and I'm going to kind of riff off of this.
Yeah.
In the trauma-informed coaching basics program, we are teaching you how to become a coach. We are teaching you the basic foundations of what the ICF core competencies are, and just really honing in on that basic practice of being a coach. So therefore, right after TICB, you can virtually coach anybody. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be around trauma. You can coach anybody. And then as you move into TICC, that is when the deep dive happens into the trauma piece of it. And then, and why it's so much longer and so much more in depth. So then you can marry the two pieces together. So you marry all of the information that you've learned in the trauma-informed coaching certification piece of it into the coaching structure that we're teaching you in the trauma-informed coaching basics. So yeah. All right. Second question was, yes, how far along on your healing journey should you be before you apply for this program? So tell me a little bit about your journey, and then we'll go from there, and we'll just kind of riff and talk about other people that have joined the courses and how far along on your journey that you should be before you start this program.
It's a super important question, and one that I think a lot of people will ask, and the one that I asked myself. So I came to the course quite relatively, maybe 3 or 4 months after I finished my own work. So I finished that in October, and I started the course in January or February. And I felt like when I was analyzing whether or not I was ready, what was really interesting was asking myself, am I going to be re-triggered? Am I going to be triggered by the course itself? And am I ready to concentrate enough to complete the journey? Because, you know, when you're still processing, as you probably know, of course, it's kind of, you want to make sure that you've got clarity in your own mind to be able to concentrate, and that you're not going to get distracted by the thing. So I felt like I was definitely there. I felt I'd given myself a strong 3 months to kind of assess and settle and kind of, and so I felt like I was ready, but I definitely asked myself that question. I think also what made me super happy was knowing about the content of the TICC course, because I recognized a lot of it. So I felt very comfortable with the content, and I felt very comfortable with how that would run. And also I wanted to keep everything fresh in my mind, my own experience, so that I could really, when I was doing the course, I could really translate that really well. So as much as it was a very fine balance of not wanting to be, hoping not to be re-triggered or too vulnerable, but at the same time, I'm wanting to complete it, but at the same time, wanting everything to be fresh, because it was super fresh.
Yeah,
it was still sitting there everywhere. So I felt like it was the right time. And I also felt like, okay, I've managed myself enough now to know that I can step back if there's a real concern, or I can speak to Brad or to you about any of that. None of that happened. And I felt like it was very instinctual. Now, that's how I normally work. It's not the same for everybody. So I felt instinctually it would be it was the right time. But I did think, oh, maybe I should leave it for a couple more months. But to be honest, the way that the course is managed and the way that Brad teaches and the way that you assess people that come in means that you're protected. So I didn't feel too worried about it. Does that sort of answer the question?
I think it does, and I think really you hit a key thing there. You made the call to me. You booked a call with me. And we talked extensively about, where you were at on your journey. And that journey is going to be different for every single student. So that, keeping that in mind, when you are looking at this program and you look at the brochure and you look at the outline and what is going to be taught, if you feel that any of these things are going to be maybe triggering for you, then it's probably wise to definitely book a phone call with me and have that conversation. As coaches, we are non-clinical, so we stay very, very much in our own lane as coaches. We do work alongside sometimes with people that are still going through therapy. That is rare. I can tell you that is very, very rare. So if somebody is still going through therapy and not themselves, then I would always recommend that they wait, like you did, until they've completed that part of that healing journey. But intuitively, I think people know, when they're ready.
I think they do. You're absolutely right. And isn't that part of what coaching is all about? So when I was speaking to you, you were not there was no pushing us about anything. Obviously, it was sort of, you answered all of my questions. I do ask a lot of questions, but also I was coaching somebody that was wanting to maybe join, and they're not quite ready because they wanted to niche even more before they started this journey, So, and that wasn't about, are they ready on their healing? It was also about, are they quite ready to take the course? But in terms of healing, I think you will know instinctively if it's too much, and if it's not, then you'll also know, and that would be the mark of knowing yourself well, and you'll need that in order to take the course. So I think
we get testimonial after testimonial about people that have been well along their healing journey, and after they've taken the TICC program and completed that part of it, they just have these huge aha moments, and that have pushed them even farther along. So I hope that this has answered any questions that anybody might have around who is the course for, and how far along on your healing journey do you need to be before you start this program. But always, if you have any hesitation, please just book a phone call with me and we'll have a conversation.
Sounds great. And thank you, Susan. It's been great chatting to you again. It was, and the course is obviously absolutely wonderful. So I can't rate it highly enough.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk soon, Kate. Have a fantastic evening in Portugal.
All right. Have a great morning. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.